Hello, I'm UW Oshkosh Archivist Joshua Ranger, and today I'm going to be talking to you about using the federal manuscript census records. As you may know, every decade the United States government counts all the country's residents in what's called the decennial census. While today most people respond to the census through a mail-in form, in the past censuses were conducted in person, with the census taker visiting residences and asking questions and writing down the answers. Once completed, all that data is counted, tabulated, and worked into statistical tables that are published in reports. That published information is the statistical census and is used by federal, state, and local governments to guide policy, determine congressional districts, and to allocate resources. Now, all of this published data is anonymous. That is, we know how many people live, say, in a county or state or city, and a lot about their demographics, but we don't know their names or how each individual answered the census questions. Well, I should say we don't know that for 72 years. See, all those forms that were filled out by the census takers are what we call the manuscript census and are not destroyed but secured by the federal government for 72 years to protect people's privacy. After that, they're released to the public for research purposes, and so today we have online scans of those records for every census from 1790 to 1950. There is one big exception, and that is the 1890 census. Those records burned in a fire in 1921. The questions that were asked in the census changed over the years. Of course, some were pretty standard, like your name, your age, your country, your state of birth, your job. One question that was been particularly complicated, and it's important to your research for this class, and that's the question of race. Starting in 1850, the census asked individuals for their color. There were three options: white, black, and mulatto. This is the first year they recorded names of freed black people. They did not record the names of enslaved people. 20 years later, in the 1870, in the first census after the Civil War, they began recording the names of formerly enslaved black people, and for the first time actually recording their surnames as well. Historians use manuscript census records in many creative ways. It's a snapshot every 10 years when researching families and individuals to see where and how and with whom they lived or near. Because census takers walked neighborhoods, you can learn a lot about individuals' closest community as well. So today I'm going to be searching for Miss Charlotte Ray. She was the first black woman in the United States to be admitted to the bar to practice law. And I want to know a little bit more about her and how she was living. To research the manuscript census, you will be using UW Library's subscription to Ancestry.com, which you may have heard about from its many commercials and online ads or discussed as nauseum by your aunt or grandpa. Find your link to Ancestry.com on your course page or via our A to Z list of resources on the library's homepage. Once there, select Census under the Search tab and the U.S. Federal Census Collection. And then you can search down here for the year you want to search, or you can search across all years. Now, I happen to know that reading her brief biography that by 1880 Miss Ray was living in New York City, having abandoned her law practice due to discrimination and the inability to keep a steady stream of clients. So I'm going to research 1880 for Charlotte Ray living in New York City. And I get 1,406 hits. But you'll notice over here these sliders that allow us to search for names not a little bit more loosely than exactly what I had typed in. And this is because, of course, the names on these forms. They don't always get transcribed correctly, but I'm feeling pretty lucky, so I'm going to slide all of these over to the right and search again. So I see 4 individuals, only 2 of whom live in New York City. And I know that this is our woman, Charlotte E. Her mother was Charlotte A. Switch over. I can look. This has been transcribed, but I want to see it in its entirety. And they're up here all highlighted for you. So Charlotte A. Ray is Charlotte E., the lawyer's mother. And we see their race listed. And now she's not a lawyer anymore. Charlotte is a school teacher. You don't see her dad here because this household began on the previous page. So if I switch over one page and I scroll down, I can see down here Charles B. Ray, who is a clergyman, and Charlotte's father. The other thing that I'll notice here, if you look on their neighborhood here on East 62nd Street in Brooklyn, that all of their neighbors are white. They typically are Irish, German immigrants, and we notice that their occupations mainly are craftsmen, skilled individuals. We also notice that living in the house with the Rays was a white Irish maid. So I'm not a historian of New York City, but I suspect that is significant and probably would make a pretty good period TV show on HBO. Now, many of the individuals that you will be looking for aren't specific people, but you're looking for communities. And you can do that too. So you don't have to search by an individual's name. Going back to the census here, let's say that I'm interested in the community of Mound Bayou in Mississippi, which is one of the oldest communities founded by black people in the South. Now we can browse it by going to, so I'm interested in what they were up to in 1930. You can browse, well, I need to go in the federal census here, select 1930. I'm going to browse, as you can tell, I had already set this up. Mississippi, there's all your states. It's like I happen to know that Mount Bayou is in Bolivar County, and there it is. Here's all the communities here, and select Mount Bayou. And then there's only one enumeration district in the community, and I pull it up the very first page of an 18-page enumeration schedule for this community, and it just happens to start with people west of Road 41. And I can learn lots of things here about this community and of where folks are from. It's like people don't leave Mississippi. Clearly, people are all black individuals. We can see different types of households, learn about multi-generational households. This way we can see if they own their own property, if they own their own home, what that house was worth, if they pay rent, what their rent is here. So lots of information you can find out, of course, their occupations and so on here as well. You can save the image of each form by selecting Save Here, save it to your computer, and it'll download it as a JPEG. Good luck with your research.